Here we go, hardpoint Gibraltar, please take it away.
All right, Revan, Team Vast versus LG. Map 1, as we said, Gibraltar hardpoint. I'm going to kick things off on board with none other than the man himself. It's going to be Octane.
Yeah, so we've seen some players before on the side of Vast, right? And just a quick note, obviously the names are flipped, so don't let that freak you out too much. But we've seen Swirly in the Pro League before, right? We've seen on some high-profile teams. I believe he started the year off on that Ghost Gaming lineup, going into Dallas. Obviously, we know how they perform, but it's good to see him back, right? Never giving up and continuing to play here, and nice seeing him back on the main stage.
Right, it really is. Now head over on board with JCap, and Cap's a player who we've kind of been praising every time we've seen him. Of course, back to boots on the ground, and this is where he truly does excel. And as you mentioned, Revan, of course, the scoreboard is incorrect. Those should be flipped, of course. It's blue squad, which is going to be Team Vast, and the red squad, which is in fact going to be Luminosity.
All right, well, we were talking about John coming to this matchup. Well, he hasn't died yet. 6-0, he's working towards that third-tier score streak. Not going to be able to earn that, but it's a very good start here for Luminosity as they jump out to, you know, a 30-point lead and growing as we're about to move towards the second hard point. You see them, they're going to be the red arrows on your map, trying to push towards that Fort Courtyard side and immediately using these streaks to try to gain better positioning towards the next hard point. Fighter pilot's only able to pick up one and doesn't disrupt the spawns. This is going to be pretty good for Vast. They have control of the spawns. They just need to push in, get a wave of kills, and then get their ideal setup.
Yeah, and you saw Cap just kind of hold on to his kill cam there just for a fraction to see if maybe his teammates were going to be able to break in. And well, I guess when you have Octane who can just do that, it makes life very, very easy, doesn't it? Triple kill inside the hard point. Unfortunately, though, does get naded out, so no streaks for Octane.
Must be nice just being able to flip a switch and all of a sudden you just kill everybody out on the map as, you know, Octane as he starts to spawn back with 20 seconds remaining, you want to start to push up on the map, right? As we're about to move over towards the Castle Road hardpoint. Team Vast, they're going to be spawning on out, so they just want to hold their positioning, right? Make sure you have the spawns. You can push up a little bit, you know, hold top bricks. Make sure nobody overextends up through cave and force Luminosity to try to break the hardpoint from the bridge side of the map.
An 11-3 start, though, for John. You know he's still going to have, I believe, the glide bomb at his disposal. And just as I mentioned it, there it is. Drops down. Not going to find a kill. And that's a big win there from Cells on Octane. That should just relieve a little bit of pressure. The problem, however, is JCap's already managed to sneak through. But you can see Evasion spawns right at the back of the map. So Cap is going to have to get a little bit of support coming through. Cells ultimately drops. But again, still Evasion at the back. And he's desperately trying to stay alive.
Right now, if you add up all the kills on Vast, they have a total of 13 kills. John has 12 on his own. So obviously, right away, Luminosity just separating themselves when it just comes to general slaying on the map, and this is what we expected coming into this one. You know, Luminosity, they're a pro team for a reason, and what really makes them outshine some of the other teams is just the raw gun skill that they have, you know, between Octane, John, and Slacked and JCap. It's a star-studded lineup, and Team Vast, you got a long road ahead of you, but still early on in this game. You're only down by around 50 points, and Gibraltar's a very rotation-heavy map, right? So if they're able to win one of these upcoming rotations, lock down a full 6. Yeah, obviously easier said than done. True. Still possible for them to come back into this game, right?
It's always good to maybe have someone just play for some streaks.
Yeah.
Right? If someone does start to heat up a little bit, maybe you
not a lot of cover you could
juggle the hill maybe once or twice, and you get a kill on the hard point as well. I mean, those streaks we've seen just be so reliant, especially on Gibraltar. You know, you can really turn things around very very quickly. The problem is, we mentioned that John started off so well, he got streaks early, and that's why really you've seen that snowball of effect. LG, massive lead, 87-32, 48 seconds left on turret.
Yeah, the thing is not slowing down, right? He's continuing since the start of the game, still outslaying, still winning all of his engagements, and you figure it's only a matter of time before somebody else on Luminosity starts to step up. You saw Octane have some good sprees. Now it's going to be JCap was just on a 4 spree before he gets shut down, so everybody could chip in as now the lead continues to grow for Luminosity. They go up by 70 points as we're on the turret hardpoint. Salzy's going to jump out the window. And talking about this hardpoint a little bit, when you see the side that Vast is on, right, it's tough to push through the cave side of the map because it's such a narrow corridor to push through. Either you go down through cave or you jump out the window, which is never a good thing to do. It's really tough to fight from that position because you look at where Luminosity could set up. They could be in the ladder room. They could use the truck. They have a lot more open area and a lot more, you know, wide area to push and hold the hardpoint.
Absolutely. One of the big issues Vast is actually having is, you know, LG are just allowing Octane to sit in the hill while everyone else runs around and slays. So Vast not even getting close to touching the hardpoint. It's now a 100-point lead for LG as we go into our second rotation. This one looks as if it could be a rather quick hardpoint, that's for sure, as John still continuing off very well. Cap's right behind him at 12-7. Swally having a pretty good game though himself, must be said.
Yeah, still, but everybody negative on Vast, right? At least they're all kind of like around the same area. Nobody like dragging the team so far down. It's just getting outslayed. They're unable to push up on the map. They can't maintain their set inside the hardpoint. And speaking about Swirly, he's on a 4 spree. We talked about if he's able to earn some streaks, and there you go. Firefly glide bomb available to use, you know, on these upcoming hardpoints. Could be something that Vast used to gain a bit of a footing in this game.
And this is where it's important that they don't lose the spawns here for the second hill, right? Because you don't want to use those streaks to break a setup. You want to make sure you have that setup.
Want to use them on rotation to third. Yeah.
Exactly that, right? Because it's going to just give you a ton of time and that little bit of extra comfort as well. Because outslaying Luminosity is no easy feat, right? You need to be set up, ready and waiting. Let them come to you. Don't try and force those fights.
You know, there are many pro teams that have a tough time outslaying Luminosity. You can only imagine it's even tougher for some of these open bracket teams to come on in. But still, in this game, Luminosity maintaining that comfortable 100-point lead. We've already moved over to the courtyard hardpoint as Nox. He's just trying to push forward. Remember when we were watching FaZe play this map yesterday? What they do is, you know, as they're holding this hardpoint, they allow somebody like Zuma or Attach subs to roam around the middle of the map, be a nuisance over near top bricks or over near the stone staircase, and just try to push the other team back, try to influence the spawns and make them spawn as far away as humanly possible.
And this is a wonderful first 30-second hold here from Vast. They still have the spawns, but Slacked is causing all sorts of problems. Now they just need to pick up that final 22 seconds. Cap might be the last player really from LG to go for a push. There's one, there's two. Cap looking for all three. Wisely decides to just back away, play his life, and at this point, Slack trying to push up because, again, they don't want Vast to just be able to walk over towards that new hill as it rotates, but this is where their streaks could be massively influential.
Yeah, and these are big kills that both these players are getting. As we're about to transition to this third hardpoint, Slack and Jacob, as they maintain that forward position, each kill they get spawns fast further back at the previous hardpoint. Finally, Vast are able to clear out middle map. They can start to push up, and now I think is the time where we're going to see the streaks coming from Swarley.
You almost definitely want to see them. It's just waiting until someone gets in a position to contest. The glide bomb's going to be the first one that comes through. That's going to shut down Octane. Two players go down. You expect LG to spawn in almost instantly. And you can see they have the favorable spawn still. So no one from Vast really in a position to dictate that, and they're still spawning down low.
Okay, so they used the glide bomb to kill the player that was front on the bridge. Instead of using a smoke to block that line of sight, they used the glide bomb, pick up that player. The smoke as well blocks up that line of sight from the turrets. Now, kills starting to come in favor of Vast, and you got more players starting to heat up. Nox currently on a 2 spree. He's got some progression towards streaks at least, but still, you look at the overall score of the game. Luminosity for the entire game, since like after the second hard point, they've had like a 70 to 100 point lead throughout the majority of it.
You know, it was a good break from Vast. It was, but it just came a little late, right? I think that's fair to say.
It's still nice to see these little sequences, right? You can see that there's that fundamental layer of Call of Duty that these guys understand how to coordinate pushes. It's just now when you move up to the next layer, this is where you start to see a skill gap between the top teams and the amateur teams.
Absolutely. As LG now rotate over towards turret, and there is the fighter pilot from Swally. It's going to find one, keeps LG off the hill for now, but still a little bit of a cushion LG have managed to earn from the very, very beginning of the game. And now, realistically, if you're Vast, you need to see some more streaks again, right? Because you saw how effective they were. It worked almost perfectly for them, but when you're getting slayed out like that on the hill, well, it's hard to earn streaks.
Yeah, like I was saying before, last time we were on this hardpoint, it's so tough to fight through this cave side of the map. It's so narrow. Unless you're able to win the rotation comfortably and, like, actively push out, it's hard to look over your teammate inside the hardpoint when Luminosity are able to set up so many different crossfires, such a wide area they have to use. You could be on that middle staircase, helping control middle map, and then back up, put pressure into top window, look down on somebody inside the hardpoint. It's a nightmare, and as we've been saying from start to finish, just the gun skill that Luminosity have brought to the table here is what's really setting them apart. They're picking up the kills on the map, and Octane doesn't have to do much. How often do we see a game like this from Octane? 15 and 16, he's just chilling.
Yeah.
Right, he's just sitting inside the hardpoint, and he's like, all right, he's kicking his feet up, putting his control on the table, just waiting. His teammates are doing all the work for him.
Minute 33 hill time. To your point, you know, you got John 25 and 21 roaming around, Cap 21 and 15, and Slacked as well, pretty much pulling even. And it's just so simple. It really is for LG. And again, Vast just started off a little too slow. They dug themselves in that early hole, and since then, LG really haven't taken their foot off the gas. It was a nice spell from Vast in that last rotation, but as we rotate now over towards Pit, the spawns are going to be crucial if Vast have any chance whatsoever of coming back in this game.
Well, look, that's what happens when you let John get 15 kills in the first minute of the game. He gets streaked out on like the first or second hard point, and you know he uses him right away. He doesn't waste any time investing those streaks, just trying to snowball the game out of effect, and it opens up room for his teammates to get set up properly. Now we see Octane get into the game. He's on a 3 spree. I mean, Team Vast, you dug yourselves in a hole early on. You're never able to climb out of it. Luminosity now only 19 seconds away from closing out map 1.
And here's the issue. They have control of the new hill as it pops. Players spawn in right behind, and well, Octane picks up a nice double streaks galore, and yeah, pretty much when it rains, it pours. Streaks for this LG squad. Octane drops down his glide bomb, and that should theoretically be GG, considering he has the fighter pilot as well. And pretty much as expected, right? This is what you think you're going to see every time you watch LG play.
Yeah, absolutely. Luminosity putting on an absolute clinic on how to play Gibraltar hardpoint right there. But once again, coming to the series, not a lot of people giving it Vast, a lot of faith coming to this matchup for good reason. You know, Luminosity are one of the best teams we have in Call of Duty at the moment.
Yep. And, well, there's a nice little display as well that backs up that statement. Wonderful 250 to 159 result, or sorry, 149 result for LG. And, you know, we talked a little bit about the series, which we think Vast have a chance of potentially taking. You kind of mentioned Search and Destroy potentially. London Docks, a lot of these open bracket teams, they come from kind of Search and Destroy background, a lot of these kind of players especially. And I'm curious to see if they can do it. I really am, because I think Search and Destroy is going to be their key.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some strats that LG brought out to the table last time we were casting them on day one. You know, they're able to switch up the pace really well. They have set smoke spots, so they're obviously well-versed on this map. But, you know, if you hit the right timings, you know, you can make something happen. I mean, you hate to just chalk it up to just pure luck, because obviously Vast, they know what they're doing. And I guess it might kind of sound like we're bashing them a little bit, but it's just Luminosity are that good. And, you know,
it's not easy
you go up
to
against an open bracket team, like, they're expected to come in and win this matchup.
Yeah, it'd be kind of shocking if they didn't, right? Let's be honest here.
It'd be what we call an upset.
Yes, definitely would. But LG, you know, no upsets whatsoever in game one. Business as usual on Gibraltar hardpoint, and it really came thanks to a fantastic start from John. And you get to see a little bit of a highlight reel of John's start there. Of course, 7-1 gets the streaks, and you can already see that lead start to develop. Of course, 42-9. They had the spawns as well. Octane kind of just breaks it single-handedly, and ever since you kind of mentioned it, that 100-point lead developed after the second hill, it kind of stayed there for the rest of the game.
Look, Luminosity just have a great understanding on how to play this map. They were putting themselves in the right positions. They were putting pressure onto the spawns as well. I mean, you saw them roaming middle map. You saw them winning rotation after rotation. And when they didn't, you had the streaks of John to fall back on to try to help aid that. And, you know, aside from that one sequence from Swarly, when he was able to get some streaks, not a whole lot of positives on the side of Vast.
I think that's the key, right? Too many times on Gibraltar, you'll see maybe some teams, when they rotate from second to third, they play so passively back. They set up kind of like on bridge, whereas what you see from LG is they kind of push straight through. They push over towards kind of turret room, and they're willing to take those fights just to spawn you even further out. It makes that rotation from second to third even longer. And LG, they'll do that time and time again.
Yeah, and what was it, that one sequence where you had like Slacked over near top stone and JCap being aggressive over near turret building it from the second to third, exactly what you're saying. Each kill they get Vast, they spawn back up at the previous hard point. They try to push up, unable to pick up the kill, well, you're spawning right back, and you're not making any progression forward on the map, and makes the rotation like near impossible. That, and I didn't see any smoke grenades brought up by them either to try to block off that line of sight. Granted, you hide the glide bomb, you hide the fighter pilot to use, but still you like to see the idea there.
Especially, like, you think about the way they use the glide bomb, right? They used it maybe a little early. If they had that smoke, they could have smoked off that kind of very beginning of the bridge, right? So they can't actually see them. Allows you to get maybe a little bit more map control before you have to invest a streak. Because realistically, what you want in that point is someone that can actually wrap around and dictate the spawns themselves from that squad, right? Then when you drop the glide bomb, instantly you take control of spawns. But of course, LG, too strong at the end of the day, 250-149.
Yeah, and if you're at home watching it and you're wondering why we're harping on that point so much, like that little distance that a submachine gun player, if you can get like that much closer to an ARA player, like it helps you out so much just winning that fight at distance. But look, looking ahead in the series, London Docks Search and Destroy. It looks like we're about to get into the action. This is where I want to see Vast come alive in this series. I'm not counting them out just yet, even though Luminosity, they are a top talent that we have in Call of Duty. This is where I think Vast can make a comeback into the series, and unfortunately for them, if they don't wind up winning this map, then I think I'm kind of going to count them out after.
Should be a 3-0, that's for sure. But, you know, we mentioned it before, LG, they have had struggles in the past in Search and Destroy. London Docks, one of those maps, so they've looked better than some of the other ones, that's for sure. So good for them. They get it through as a game 2. But I believe that would actually be Vast's pick. So Vast obviously feeling competent and good on London Docks, and it's going to be LG on the attacking side first round as JCap tracks back to grab the bomb.
Okay, smoke goes out. This is the tried and true A push that Luminosity have showed us earlier in the throwing. And John, right in the middle of the map, there's First Blood working alongside Octane. They take down Swirly, and keep in mind that A choke point still smoked off. Bomb carrier JCap, he's going to get isolated. Invasion picks him up. Nox follows up with a kill as well. So now we're down to a 2v2. Yeah,
and what John does on this map will talk about as soon as this round ends, but it's so wonderful to see, especially that straight off the break. Slack picks up Evasion, and that leaves Nox now in a 1 versus 2. Again, bomb is down, but he has a pretty big cross here. So
yeah, but he's loud. He doesn't have anything to make his footsteps silent.
Gonna have to watch him crouch. Pray John doesn't hear him. Bomb, of course, being planted. Slack's gonna spot him now. Bomb goes down, he knows where both players are, but ultimately falls. And back to the point I wanted to make, right? The way they start that round was very, very smart from LG. They throw the traditional B Street smoke, so instantly you think, okay, they're gonna be rushing. We have to adjust. Meanwhile, 3 players actually just hit mid-statue. And as soon as they hit mid-statue, John has people who he can instantly trade if he doesn't win the first gunfight. And as soon as he does win the first gunfight, fire's wide open for him to just immediately take full control of the map, and then from there, you go to either A or B.
Yeah, it's nice to have a constant like that in your strategies, right? Something you can just bring out every round, and the team sees it. They're like, oh, they're throwing that smoke again over to the A bomb site, but you still don't know where that final push is going to come through. I mean, we saw it as you were saying that time around. They smoke off the A Street, they put pressure towards mid. Other times we can see them smoke off that A Street, commit to the A bomb site, or even play the late rotation back to B. But now it's going to be the first offensive round for Vast, as right now it's Luminosity with the man advantage. But let's see if Evasion and Cells could bring it back. And
another first blood for LG. As Cells tries to go for the wallbang, but he's isolated. 1v3. LG just kind of take that fight straight to him. A very, very fast round, that is for sure, and kind of what you expect from John. That just fast play sub player.
I mean, look, LG just aren't showing a lot of respect to Vast right now. They're just pushing up the map, forcing the engagements, and just relying on their gun skill to carry them through this map. They don't have to bring out a lot of strategy if they could just outshoot their opponent in every engagement.
Pretty much, right? Just flood mid-map if you want to. I mean, that's what we saw in the first round. Curious to see if maybe Vast kind of adapt to that, throw some stuns.
Stuns, yes, exactly.
Throw that stun mid-map, and then all of a sudden you got John maybe just kind of stood there saying, guys, I'm stunned, help. You could potentially even hit 2 stuns.
And here's a variation on that A smoke.
Right, the smoke comes out. This time 2 players actually cross over towards the site, 3 players actually cross over towards the site. So now if you're Vast, you're kind of in the back of your head thinking, all right, what do we do? Bear in mind, Octane was a little bit of a nuisance there as he draws first blood. Ultimately, Cap gets taken out there as well. But it's a 3v2. Again, number advantage in LG's favor.
Yeah, I mean, granted, we've only played 2 rounds, but I don't think Vast have ever had a man advantage in any of these rounds. I mean, look, 3 first bloods coming in for Luminosity. If you're Vast, you got to stop dying in the first 15 seconds of the round and just slow it down. Throw out some stuns, as you're saying. Slow down Luminosity. Right now, you're just letting them do whatever they want on the map, both on offense and defense. Find a way, throw a wrench in the gear and slow down the Luminosity machine. You got to find a way. Yeah,
sometimes, we often say you can fight aggression with aggression, fast-paced, but it's
fire with fire.
It's just not going to work, right? We saw that, I think it was like round 2. LG just said, well, no, we feel like we have inferior or superior gun skill. We're just going to take those fights and we'll win them every single time.
And the thing is, COD is not all about gun skill. Yes, it helps if you know how to shoot straight, but if there are ways you could play on the map to limit those one-on-one engagements, play with the man advantage, just try to isolate certain players on the map. I mean, Slack already has streaks.
And he already has full mid-map control.
Slack and John haven't even died yet.
Why has no one thrown a stun there mid-map to slow down that push? And Slack, he's going to find another one pre-fire, and that's just too easy. That's just too simple there for Slack. He's a player who, if you give him those opportunities, he's going to take them every single time. Look at that.
Nicely played.
Full little jiggle peek drop shot. Go for the 4. Oh, Slack just a steamroll through. A wonderful performance.
Just no respect being shown. They're just running right into their line of sight, and they're winning every engagement. Luminosity, Slack, he's got trust, and I mean, you got to feel comfortable when somebody like Octane is looking over you, but still, like, he's just running and gunning and just forcing the engagements, winning all the fights. I mean, he used the cover to perfection right there. Picked up 3 kills. Octane does steal the ace from him, but as I was saying, John, Slack, they've yet to die in this game.
Yeah, making it look easy, and it's not like they've been playing passive.
Well, John just died in that last round.
They've been flying straight at him every single round, but big picture, I think this is one of those maps where this and Valk Search and Destroy, if you're going up against LG, you might want to consider maybe banning it. They have looked pretty competent. I mean, you can obviously kind of remove this one if you wanted to from the data pool, but still, it is definitely one of their more comfortable game modes as John gets another first blood. It's going to be, what, 5 overall for LG, and I mean, they're just...
I counted to 10. I counted to 10 and the round was over. Like, you just can't be having 10-second rounds. You have to last longer than that.
You definitely do, John. You definitely do.
I did my first time, but whatever. 5 rounds played, 5 first bloods for Luminosity. This game just hasn't been close from start to finish.
Definitely hasn't. 5-0, the current lead, and you got Cells 0-5, Swally 1-5, Evasion 2-5, Nox 2-5. You kind of summed it up perfectly.
I hate to sound so negative, but these are just the mistakes that we're seeing. I mean, this is shaping up to be one of the quicker search and destroys I've seen. I mean, Slack still is yet to die. 9 kills.
With streaks.
Just waiting to call in his streaks. I mean, at least everybody on Vast does have Mount, and finally they do get a first blood, so we're going to see a round where they do have a man advantage.
And look at that. They played it just a little bit more passively, probably because they were so afraid of streaks.
Oh, you see that?
Nox was maybe spotted, but I don't think he could find the angle, and ultimately he will fall. But John in a position to make this a 2 versus 2 situation. Octane and John, of course, alive versus Nox and Swally.
And John's looking for information right over near that B bomb site. Could threaten on that late flank. As Octane falls, the sniper from Nox connects. So here we go, a 2v1. Vast with a chance to win around here. Get the bomb planted. And look, I liked what they did there. They get the man advantage. And both players were spread out, right? One had to dodge the glide bomb. And Slack, he's going to use the, or I'm sorry, John's going to use, nope, didn't wind up calling it in. But the bomb's going to get planted. Yeah, he thought about it. But look, if maybe you could get that angle coming in from the C side into the bomb site. Let's see if John could clutch though.
If the bomb had been planted at B, I think he would have reconsidered and maybe just used it just for, see if he can grab a free kill, maybe a little bit of information as well, because the glide bomb was already called in, and I think the call came out. There's two players that aren't using Mountain. It was a 2 Mountain and 2 no Mountain, but you can see, of course, Nox with the sniper rifle. Pretty good round from him there. I believe he actually got 3 picks with the snipe.
Not bad. Like to see some positives to take away from Vast, but look, round by round, that's how you have to approach this situation, because if you lose one more round, then this map is over. And look, Ben, both times we've casted, well, we've been a part of them both, right? Both of the 05 comebacks in Search and Destroy. Not trying to gas this one up, but it's possible. If there are any 2 casters that can make it happen, it's us.
Imagine. Well, John trying to push through, trying to find that first blood. Invasion was there, and it is worth mentioning, you see comebacks kind of happen when teams maybe get a little overconfident with themselves. LG definitely confident. You can tell that just by the giggles and the laughs. But once again, numeric advantage in favor of Vast.
Yeah, Vast are playing this round pretty well, right? You got Crossfire set up inside the A-bomb site. You're picking up kills. You're not overextending. You're not overcommitting to these engagements. You're picking up kills. You're backing up, and you're playing your life. That's how you play Search and Destroy. Well done, Vast. You've just picked up your 2nd round.
Now, can they kind of spiral this maybe
one by one
streaks of their own, right? That's what you kind of have to think the next logical step is here, because LG, I think it's time you maybe change things up yourselves here, right? The last 2 rounds haven't worked. You're just going to want to close this one out now. You don't want to allow Vast to get a little bit of momentum, because that's when searches get scary.
Well, look, obviously LG have a lot of rounds to play with, right? So they can do like whatever they want and throw different looks at your opponent, and thinking that, okay, if I'm able to put, like, let's say you just decide to run right down the middle of the map, like John has done before. If he doesn't spot anybody, then he can make a game-winning play. But, you know, high risk, high reward, right? Anyways, into round number 8. Team Vast trying to stay alive in this map, as they can't lose another round, otherwise they're out of it.
Still pretty frustrating not to see any stuns or even a nade mid-map. Of course, Slacky's been running airborne the entire time. Surprised to see no stuns thrown over towards him, but bomb will go down, 4v4, and of course, Slack still does have 2 streaks.
Okay, fighter pilot gonna get called in here. Maybe some damage being done, but no kills made. There's first blood coming in. Octane taking down Swirly, and LG's on for the retake.
Yeah, that's a nice little flank coming in from JCap, but little does he know, Nox right behind him. Nox picks up a double, so this changes very, very quickly.
He's got the ace to win.
Can he do it? So 1v2, not going to happen. Octane shuts him down, and just like that, the hopes and dreams of the 05 comeback shattered as LG take the win 6 rounds to 2.
Well, certainly not an easy task, but as you saw Nox starting to heat up, he was on a 5 spree there. He had to get the ace, the 1v2 at the end there to win it. Unable to do so, and just like in the hard point, when you dig yourselves in that deep of a hole early on, it's incredibly tough to climb back out of. Like, what if we've seen Vast like bring that Search and Destroy gameplay that they brought in like the last 4 rounds? If they were playing like that in the early stages of that map, I think we have maybe a different result, or at the very least a much closer game.
Definitely would have been a lot closer, that's for sure. And similar sentiment can be shared about map number 1, right? I feel like maybe they're giving too much respect to LG, or maybe playing a little afraid.
Playing scared, yeah.
Playing a little afraid of just the pace that LG can play at. But you know, there's very simple things that you can do to slow them down, and we didn't really see much.
There's something in this game called a stun grenade that you could throw, and when it connects on your opponent when they don't have armor on, it will slow them down.
Who knew? But LG 2-0 up in this one, and looking pretty good, to be honest with you. Cruise control, I don't think you can really read too much into this when you talk about LG's performances and where to realistically expect them to finish. But it is a big game for them. Of course, it guarantees their spot into winner's bracket if they do win.
Yeah, of course, and we've seen Luminosity in these situations before, where they're going up against an opponent that they're expected to win against, and sometimes in the vetoes they'll maybe take them a little lightly, try to practice some of the maps that they're a little bit worse on, but here they're coming in and they're handling business.
Well, want to take a look at the CWL play of the game, presented by Scuff Gaming. It came in that game too, and you guessed it, it's Slacked. Basically takes matters into his own hand, a nice little drop shot there as he finds the second, but it was really this 3rd kill on Nox, which was pretty beautiful. Jiggle peek, drop shot, and instantly Nox gets evaporated. He tried to play for the ace, but his teammate Octane stole it. What a scumbag.
Come on, Sam, but listen, we call that environmental mental awareness, right? He knows what's going on around the map. He has trust in his teammates looking over him. Octane there, we pointed out that he saw it, but even on that second kill, he was looking over him, trying to give him some backup as Slacked was challenging into Cole. Perfectly done, a great play from Slacked right there.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful play. LG 2-0 up against Vast. We'll be back after this with Game 3 CTF. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Of course, CWL Birmingham Day 2. A couple of games already under our belt here as the open bracket teams fight the pool play teams. But the game we're watching on the main stage was LG comfortably 2-0 up. I want to take this moment, though, to maybe just jump around, see what else is going on here at CWL Birmingham, preferably with our Charlie game. Of course, that Optic Gaming versus Heretics. And me and Rebel just kind of glanced over at this game here, the London Docks CTF, and or should I, is it CTF? Yeah, it is CTF. 4-3. Optic Gaming, Heretics still in this one.
Dude, Ben, I make that mistake all the time. Sometimes you look at the score and you're like, this can't be a CTF, but that's London Docks for you. And in this game right now, you got Krim. He's starting to heat up 5s free. He's got streaks to work with. But the reason why we really wanted to jump into this one is Heretics, I feel like they're just one of those up-and-coming teams. You know, we talk about it being a global pro league, and now we're starting to see an international presence come in. And these guys, for the second event in a row now, find themselves in a position to do some damage in these pools.
And it's 1-1. So Heretics, they won a map. Unsure whether it was game 1 or 2, but Heretics did win a map. So props to them. And if with 60 seconds left, they're able to maybe try and stop this flag run, they could be in a good position. But you see Methods ultimately falls. Formal's going to run that flag home. So a nice 2-flag cushion with 53 seconds left to go.
And I feel like this Heretics squad, they have a ton of motivation to just play and continue to get better. You know, just even seeing like a little bit of success. Like it's already big when we see European teams make it out of the open bracket, and it's even bigger when we start to see them win maps in pool play. I feel like they're only going to get better as time goes on, and the Spanish scene really has a team to get behind and cheer at for these international international events.
I mean, I'm kind of happy that they do, right? It's about time. The Spanish community, we know how big it is. We know how many fans they actually have, but you know, it's good that they have a really good, talented squad to really get behind, because you can see Heretics here really taking it with Optic Gaming. This one basically over, barring an absolute miracle. Heretics are going to have one final push, and a perfect relay could maybe be positive, or possible, I should say, but with Karma free-firing, ultimately falls. 4 seconds left, so streaks are going to come out for Optic Gaming. The extra 60 seconds not even going to come through. Impossible for them to win. Optic Gaming take game 3. They have a 2-1 lead. Elsewhere, here though at CWL Birmingham, you can take a look over at our Bravo station. E6 versus FaZe, and you know, FaZe, they've had some woes as well. We saw E6 in action earlier on in the day. They had a game 5, which they should have won. Their Search and Destroy was fantastic in that one, Revan, and they find themselves 4-3 up against FaZe.
Abizi, man, 10-4.
He's so good.
He's on top for the E6 lineup, and this has been his game mode so far. When I've seen E6 played, yeah, he seems to have a really good understanding on how to play Search and Destroy. But yeah, FaZe find themselves down right now, but still early.
The one thing which really impressed me was his oh, this is game 5. Oh, wow.
Hello, we're getting into this one.
Oh, buckle up, people. Game 5 alert. E6, don't throw another one away, because that's just heartbreaking. But one thing I was going to give Abizi a little bit of credit for was, you know, you look at Sender, Diabolic, General. These are players that have been around for a very long time.
Been around the block.
You know what you're going to get out of CTF. Abizi really impressed me with his CTF ability. Very, very talented individual when it came to that game mode. Earlier on, at least. Obviously, not a massive data pool to base that up, but the map that we saw, he looked fantastic.
And a lot of times, you know, I criticize, you know, these Search and Destroy players when they move on and transition into these respawn game modes, because it's just played at such a different pace, and
right.
It's tough to transition to and get adjusted to. I mean, some of these players, they have years of experience on these game modes, right? But look, round number 8, Enigma 6 up 4-3. They have the man advantage working into this round. It's FaZe on offense, Priest a bomb in hand, but Zuma making plays happen through runes. He's going to even up the man count, but time starting to wind down. 25 seconds remaining, and FaZe now just planning the bomb. Zuma working towards streaks.
That's the key here. If Zuma can try and find this pick on General, streaks could help aid FaZe. It's now 1v2.
Nice.
Makes it 1v1. And
back up, use a streak.
I was going to say, just use your glide bomb. Well, challenges the heady. Zuma falls.
Oh, yeah. No mountain, back up, run to the defensive spawn, use a glide bomb, get information. I mean, he's forced to go for the defuse, right?
All he needs to do is jiggle peek. He knows he's not on bomb. Then you can just back away. We always say the round you get your streaks is probably the best time to use them, because
and yeah,
you know there's no mountain.
It's easy for us to criticize up here on the desk. You know, heat of the moment, you have only so many things you could think about. Maybe he thinks that Abizi is going to force that engagement off of the bomb. He knows maybe Zuma has, you know, a bullet, maybe 2 bullets in him, but Abizi 12-4 right now. 2 bomb plants, or 2 first bloods as well.
I'm not going to get ahead of myself though, Revan, because we've
seen it before.
I've seen E6 at 5 rounds in a game 5 and not close it out. Of course, that was against Unilight earlier on, but you know, FaZe could be in some woes here.
Ooh. Diabolic pushing up. Sniper trying to push that player on top with back, but 2 fall early on for Enigma 6 as FaZe with the man advantage. Abizi, of course, or Zuma, of course, still has streaks, but with this man advantage, I don't really think you want to invest them.
I'd be surprised, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, if they wind up losing this 4v2 and you don't use the streaks, then you kind of question it, but still you think FaZe should. I mean,
yeah, with Priester with that kill, as long as Zuma doesn't, he isn't the player that dies first in that kind of 2v4, then you should be fine. But of course, Abizi a little close to some streaks of his own, won't matter. He ultimately falls, and FaZe down, but again, not out of this one.
Oh, listen, if there's any team that we have in the CWL that always fights till the very last second of every game, every map, it's this FaZe lineup, man. They have such a great attitude. They approach the game with an incredible work ethic. There's a reason why so many people are fans of this lineup. And look, going into round number 10, you got Zuma with streaks to use, and Zuma being 8-7, depending on how, you know, those early rounds played out, maybe Enigma 6 aren't even tracking his score, so there's a chance that these streaks could be pretty impactful. Curious
to see how Zuma's going to play this. It wouldn't surprise you. Yeah, he's going to be the lone player maybe that watches the flank, use that fighter pilot and clear out that B site, and then be aggressive over there. That's why Priest is playing so passive over towards Bell. Is he going to be able to get his streaks in time? Probably just an extra second that he has to wait. Now that should rain down to people. No, Abizi already first blood, but here is that fighter pilot, and I think you called it. They did not know that the shoot was going to come through. He has perfect eyes on General as well. This is going to a round 11.
It's getting a little worrisome when you don't get the first blood for FaZe, right? And you lose control of that middle of the map. Zuma now working on the ace. He's going to be coming up right behind General. Nade comes in. General falls. Zuma with the ace. A beautifully placed fighter pilot. And Ben, we are going to round 11.
And it's a round 11 where Zuma still has a glide bomb.
But E6 know, right? They should know. They should know.
I hope they know, right? Because No one ran Mountain that round.
It's such a small score gap that separates the two.
I would change just because.
Safe, yeah.
Just
make the safe play, absolutely.
I just would love to flick through and see. No,
well,
General has Airborne, Sender, Mountain, BZ, Armored. Oh, General does switch out. Okay. So I believe that was 3 Mountain overroll in an Armored class. Of course, it is E6 on the attacking side as well.
Keep in mind, typically Zuma is a super aggressive player. Now he has to adjust his playstyle a little bit because you don't want to die. You just back up, stay alive. You could even let E6 plant the bomb and use the glide bomb on a retake and take out a popular position like top platform, like back bell or on that mid pillar.
And you can see that just by the way he played, right? Very, very passive. He's going to see if he can hunt someone out. Spots
He's
General should
Bye-bye.
be dead. And 3v3 because it was Sender that got first blood on attach. And now Zuma, with no pressure really over towards that B side, needs to be a little bit careful because E6, they're going to push this.
Yep, kill comes in, replays, takes out a BZ. It's down to Sender and Diabolic, the 2 men remaining here for Enigma 6. And this could be another search and destroy where we see E6 get to that map point, but unable to close it out.
Sender 1-on-3 as Diabolic falls to Zuma, and Sender will fall as well. And that was a 5-3 lead E6 had. FaZe win 3 in a row, take game 5. And you mentioned it, that's 2 game 5 leads we've seen E6 just throw away.
That's heartbreaking, especially as an open bracket team, a team that's been trying to establish themselves in the scene, right? And just, you have these opportunities to close out games, but listen, there are open bracket teams out there that don't even get the opportunity.
You have to be able to close.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you there. And got to give props to FaZe not folding under the pressure. You know, round by round, I got to give credit to replays and the leadership that he brings to his team for that.
5-1 lead earlier on and a 5-3 lead right there. E6, I mean, you just think about that. They could be 2-0 in their pool right now.
Yeah.
How different things would be. But of course, our main stage matchup, LG currently 2-0 up, looking comfortable. Of course, game 3,
very comfortable.
Going to be a Flag Tower CTF, and I'm curious to see if maybe this mixes some things up here, because Vast Esports, they've been pretty slow starting in both games, but towards the end at least, have started to find a rhythm.
Yeah, I feel like you hit the nail on the head at the end of the Search and Destroy talking about Vast, right? It seems like they're just playing a little bit scared. Maybe they're showing too much respect to LG. Want to see them bring out something different. Stack some stuns here.
Yes.
Throw some nades there. Bring out a smoke or 2. I mean, you don't have to play a standard style versus Luminosity because if you do that, like, they're the better team. They have the better matchup. They've been playing against the top talent all year long. Like, I just don't think that's the best way to approach this match.
Without even looking, I can probably guess that LG are going to run 3 Airborne Prime classes. It worked for them earlier on in the week. And we've seen him use it a couple of times on Flag Tower. I mean, Cap has 1, because he's going to be rocking that STG. But for John Slacked, they just look so comfortable. No, he actually has Hunker on, but he may switch it out a little bit later on. But to that point, throw stun grenades.
And this is a great start for Vast, right? You get 3 quick kills, you could push up on the map and start to establish some control. And in CTF, sometimes this early break, it could dictate how the rest of the map is going to play. So Vast now push on up. Now they need to get that second wave of kills, which is something that can be tough on a map like Flag Tower because the spawns primarily come up right at the enemy team's flag, right? So tough for Vast to get that second wave of kills. And now Luminosity, they're going to turn the gear around and they're going to turn up their own aggression.
We'll see just how fast they want to play it. As Octane just going to fly with that PPSH out in his hands. Ultimately traded out, though, by Cells. Cells with a nice defensive double. Not going to find the triple, though, but evasion there to trade out Slacked. And just like that, good defensive hold from Vast.
Great defensive hold. Still love the team push from Luminosity as well. You like how they all commit there. And that's just off the back of team chemistry, right? If you're in that situation and, like, you're pushing up, you're the first man in, and you don't see your teammates backing up, you're like, what the hell, man? Like, come on, back me up, help me out here. But everybody from Luminosity, they all kind of die at the same time, so they all spawn up, and they can push up, try to make a defensive hold here.
John almost found a double, but it was Nox that got it. And Evasion was working towards some streaks thanks to actually getting the return of the flag, but unfortunately he drops as well. So no players really working too close to streaks. Of course, Octane, the only player who has a kill in his current life, but not really sure if he's going to be able to find much more as of right now.
Yeah, Flag Tower is just a trade heavy CTF, right? And just because of the fact where the main spawns come in, that you really need to secure like 2 waves of kills before you can comfortably get that flag out. Cell's trying to clean up this kill. He won't be able to. So once again, Vast find themselves in a situation where they have 3 down from Luminosity. They can push up, establish the map control. Now they need to get that second wave.
Is that second wave going to come, though? Because you see instantly Cells has to backtrack. He didn't really have the team support. He was the only player in a pushed up position, and LG are going to just defensively clean sweep unless Cells goes big. 3 kills come in for him, and that's just going to deflect the pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. Now it's only up to Octane, and you just want to play your life here. Find a nice spot on the map and set up camp. Wait for your teammates to spawn on up, push up, wait until you can make an effective team push. But I think they're going to let Octane sneak through, and this is something that pro teams don't do. They're always counting players to know who's alive, who's left. Octane trying to dip away with this flag. He'll be unable to. Slack a little too far behind to follow that push up. So fortunately, Vast, they wind up pulling a flag on the other side of the map. They get the return. There is a chance for them to take the lead in this game.
And that was just a fantastic little play there from Swally. Kind of baited out the flag carrier a little bit, Evasion baited out the flag carrier a little bit to just ensure that he found the kill on the trailing player. And flag goes in, Vast 1-0 up.
Okay, let's see if they can maintain it, though. So a lot of time remaining in this map, and Nox with that flag cap, you get a good boost towards those score streaks, so maybe he could adjust his play style a little bit, get a couple, okay, never mind. He falls to Slack. Now it's going to be the majority of Vast players coming off of respawn. Of course, rule number 1 in CTF, every time you spawn up, always wrap back to your base, make sure that your base is clear, cover all avenues, and then push up and fight for map control.
Slack trying to push through, ultimately drops. John has pulled out that Airborne Prime class, of course he was using Hunker for a while, but it seems whenever he rocks that Airborne Prime, he has a little bit more success. As I say that though, misses the flag a little bit. Was able to find one. Teammates not in a position to trade, and Cell's just being a nuisance here at the back of the map.
Yeah, a little less flinch helps. Extra attachment's nice as well, especially at the top level. You know, sometimes that little bit of flinch reduction could make the difference in some of these engagements. And
LG, I mean, they were running 3. I mean, Slack has pulled one out as well, so it just shows you they go 1-0 down, they make the adjustment to what was working previously in the tournament. I think that's what, outside of JCap now, he's going to be the only one that isn't using it.
And look, it's a trade-off, right? You decide to run primed, now no Hunker, so any nade, tactical or lethal that gets thrown at you is going to be doing some damage, so that's going to make Vast feel a bit more comfortable on the map.
And honestly, you know, if you're watching your kill cams, you'll notice that. And, you know, pull out maybe. We mentioned stuns. We've mentioned that, you know, all the time. And I mean, you can have a look at Swally's class, of course. People making some adjustments, which is always nice to see.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just slowing down the pace, and sometimes a Hail Mary stun could just slow down that flag carrier. Just, you know, a couple extra steps that allows you to push up on the map. But here we go, 3 fall for Vast. Now Luminosity can push on up. There's 40 seconds remaining in this first half, but if somebody's able to get a touch on one of these flags, you can start to extend some time as more kills coming in favor of Luminosity. The nade connects there on to Nox. It's going to be Octane now pulling the flag. Luminosity here with a chance to score.
An evasion, of course, he spawned in a position to OE, but 2 players from LG. They're going to be watching that from the mid-cut. Both players fall. Swally, last man alive. Okay. He has to take the gunfights, but stay alive. More importantly, not going to happen. And unless Nox can somehow hit an unbelievable Semtex, which isn't going to happen, that's going to be a 1-1 game.
Okay, so Luminosity in the final seconds of this first half, they will be able to tie things up, and more importantly, Octane has significant progress towards his score streaks, right? You know, sometimes on a map like Flag Tower, not going to find a lot of kills. I think the best time to use them is like when the other team is a little bit after coming off respawn, so you could kind of pick them off and aid you in that second wave of kills, which is sometimes hard to get, but you can also use them to delay a flag run and keep a flag runner just stable and, you know, locked in on a part of the map.
Very true. 1-1 at the half. 5 minutes left, of course. As it stands, LG 2-0 up in the series. The map win here would conclude the series, but Vash showed a wonderful little bit of initiative in the first half, of course, to get that first flag run in by Nox. As now we will see Cell's perspective. No, has that STG airborne out, Hunker as well.
Cells is killing it, man. 15-9. Just need somebody else on his team to step on up. Help out with the sling.
Some suspect shots, but when you have a Semtex in your back pocket, it's all good.
Yeah, don't agree with that re-challenge there on the JCap. JCap's already set up, pre-aiming, waiting for you to come to his line of sight. Could be a bit of a cocky challenge, but decide to go for it anyway. Now Invasion could make a play happen. Comes up right behind Slack. That's 2 down for Luminosity now. Action going down near the Luminosity flag. Invasion, he's just trying to buy time. You see his teammates on the minimap starting to push up as the Luminosity spawns are coming over towards their main gun in the back of their base. John finds the kill onto Invasion. So far, this push from Vast has gotten nothing done. Yeah,
it's a little unfortunate, but Nox is going to keep the push alive. Nade gets flown out, but it always seems as if the one player pushing that kind of left-hand lane wins the gunfight, but the person who's trying to come from middle just dies. It's a little too much for one player to do. Like, you see Nox say, well, 3 kills in a row, but he needs that extra pressure from his teammates if they want to get a successful flag.
It's all about that follow-up, getting that trade in. You know, somebody always puts their life on the line to, you know, bait and draw the attention from the other team so that they're no longer focused on that next following-up player and catch him off guard, work the trade. Keep in mind, Octane has these streaks to work with, so we'll keep it on him when he decides to utilize these. As Luminosity are establishing map control, you got 2 players of Vast now coming off respawn. This could be an opportunity to do something like a fighter pilot.
Oh, we'll wait and see, because unfortunately for Octane, I don't think his teammates have pushed far enough up the left-hand side lane. If they win a couple of gunfights, that would have been the perfect time. But sadly, they fall. So 3.5 minutes left of the second half here of CTF Flag Tower, and Vast very much still in this game.
And once again, forgetting to count players, just letting Slack sneak right on by. And Slack, he's just chilling here, right? Right now he's calling out to his team, just find 1 kill, maybe 2 kills. I'm in a position to pull their flag. But on the other hand, he's not on the other side of the map to help out his team on the defensive end. As John finds that 2-piece, Slack goes for the flagpole. Now this is going to force a reaction from Vest. I either need to commit to the Luminosity flag or try to play for the sneak return.
And it's worth mentioning what John just did there was beautiful. Too many players would have maybe just pushed straight through mid to try and find players off spawn. No, he pushes the right-hand side lane. He makes sure Slack is secure, finds a kill as well. Wonderful decision making from him.
And all 4 go down for Vast. Octane uses the glide bomb just to secure that information that there's nobody in the base of Luminosity, and now they're going to put the aggression back onto the Vast base. Still that fighter pilot now being called in. 2 fall for Vast once again. John in a position to put more pressure onto the flag. It's all up to Nox. He's the last one standing. The flag gets repulled as Luminosity with a chance here as John gets more streaks to start to build a significant lead.
And that was Cat basically just saying, here, I'll bait for you, right? I have the flag. If I get a couple of kills, great, I get the extra points, but you can maybe find a kill and a flag pull as well. Give you full streaks. John, of course, on a 6-kill streak, trying to run that flag away. Ultimately does fall, but damage has been done. They have a 1 flag cushion and some streaks in their back pocket. If you're Vast Esports, you want to try and pull that flag as quickly as you possibly can. Make John use those streaks early.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are situations that occur. If you get like a clean 4 down, then it's not even worth for John to go on those score streaks because the flag cards are already on the other side of the map. But you have to start a push with a kill onto John, right? Just make sure that John can't use those streaks on the defensive end. You take him out early on, you have a good chance of pulling the flag, but as we're talking about that, all 4 go down for Vast. Luminosity can push up on the map, and John might want to use one of his streaks here as they all come off 3 spawn.
Honestly, it might be worth it. We'll see. Instead, takes the gunfight with Swally, backs away. Octane falls, and yep, there it is, the glide bomb. Unfortunately, Slack gets traded out as well, but he's going to get the information on evasion. That should keep him alive. No, Cap is directly above. Unfortunately, doesn't find the kill, but Cap can trade this one out. Does so, and again, can keep the pressure on.
Okay, Clap does wind up falling. Vast spawn up. They make the defensive hold, but all the action seems to be going down in the Vast side of the map, right? They seem to have been just pinned back, and now with only a minute remaining, Vast need to put up like a scrappy push here, and it's tough to sneak on a map like Flag Tower. There are not many avenues where you could just lay and let somebody sneak by. They have to win these engagements, win the gunfights, establish control of the map, and then try to find a weakness in the defensive setup from Luminosity, but they don't have a lot of time to work with. 50 seconds remaining. Early on, it was Cells, but no one else has really stepped on up and helped carry that slaying load. He started to slow down. 3 fall for Vast. John has the flag in his hand. This is going to be a flag out for Luminosity, and that might be the game and the series.
Yeah, most definitely should be, to be completely honest with you. John's going to run this one home after a great performance from him. Octane as well, using the sub for the majority of the map, finishes 25 and 17. A great performance from him. LG, not the most comfortable win that you would expect on a Flag Tower. Vast, of course, played the first half pretty well, I think it's fair to say, and they showed moments, but it just seems when LG really kind of put the pressure on, the cracks started to show. Yeah,
it seems like after Vast got that first flag cap, LG were just like, okay, we'll stop playing around now and we'll actually shoot back this time. But look, they come to the series as the heavy favorites. Nobody really expected much for Vast going up against a top talent like Luminosity Gaming, and LG, they just handle business. Simple as that. They come in, they win the map, and they show why they're one of the most feared teams here.
All right, there we go. Luminosity taking it down fast, 3-0. We did kind of predict it was going to happen here on the desk, but at least some signs of life coming in from Vast that could do them well later on in this tournament. All right, joining me here now, Miles. What did you make of the game?
Well, look, I was the contrarian here. I said that there could be a few moments of excitement and whatnot, but let's face it, LG, it was strictly business. This was a clean